Hey everyone, welcome back to the Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast, the working class podcast. We are the Blue Collar Ballers, John and DJ. Check us out on our Facebook page at Armchair Fantasy Football, on Twitter at Armchair FF Pod. I'm on Twitter at Armchair Kingpin. John is on Twitter at John2977. You can email us at armchairfb@gmail.com. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, and also on YouTube. Just search Armchair Fantasy Football Podcast and we'd be right there waiting for you. And also today, you guys laugh at me, by the way, when I step all over my words there, but this is hard to do this every single day, man. I gotta flow through that intro every single day. I'm bound to stumble over myself every now and again. We do have a returning guest. Noah's back in the house with us, so say hello, Noah.
How's it going, everybody?
Noah and I are just having a fun-spirited debate over the Vontaze Burfict hit and the Josh Allen hit.
I'm Noah Rollins out of the New England Penitentiary.
Yes, he is straight out of Compton, a.k.a. the New England Penitentiary. And John's got a little grumpy cat action going on today, but we'll make it through. John's dealing with Noah and I's shenanigans already, and he is not impressed.
45 minutes of waiting here for these two.
that is
blowing audio speakers because
you're gonna you're gonna blow the speakers.
Yeah, right.
He was blowing the speaker without even talking in the microphone.
Calm down there,
dude. I don't get paid enough for this.
He's talking
Okay,
about
Jake.
He's talking about Noah, by the way. Well, Jake just needs his own dressing room, right? I need my own dressing room. I need green M&Ms, and I can't work with Noah.
I didn't know that was gonna be said.
So anyway, we're having fun here at the Armchair headquarters today.
We went from barely any news to a ton of news, so we're gonna blast through this.
I got one thing, Noah. Don't forget to get right up against the microphone there, but don't scream, don't get emotional. We're just gonna coast right through this, my man.
We're gonna have a nice conversation.
Okay, start off news quickly here. Tyrell Williams did not practice on Wednesday with his foot issue. Let's move on.
Okay.
Deshaun Jackson
yes, sir.
is still sidelined for the Eagles. Looking like he probably will not play again.
That's a bummer for Carson
Buffalo.
Wentz.
Devin Singletary is now limited, so that's a little bit of positive news there. He has a chance to play. And Josh Allen is practicing, but is still in the concussion protocol.
Hold on. Don't skip past Devin Singletary there. Make like the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC or whatever that band was, and bye when it comes to Devin Singletary. Right now is your time to buy that guy, because if you wait till he comes back, I got a feeling he's going to have a huge part of that timeshare in the backfield, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Go out and buy Devin Singletary.
And it'll actually help him this week because Josh Allen did practice today, but he just needs to clear the concussion protocol, which right now it sounds positive that he probably will.
It looks good, but tough matchup with the Titans. I don't think I'm starting him. I think I'm going to have to roll with that. I think it is the Titans, right, John?
Yep.
I think I'm going to have to roll with Daniel Jones, who also has a tough matchup.
Dr. Jones.
But it's no time for love. We gotta get a win in the Marcotte household. We're 2-2. We gotta step it up.
T.Y. Hilton and his 50-pound bag of ice is still sidelined.
Oh.
That's a shame. Helps Jack Doyle, though. If anybody were interested in trading for Jack Doyle in our tag team league,
Doyle rules. He
is available, and he's gonna have a huge week with T.Y. Hilton out. And, I'm still not convinced that Paris Campbell isn't a good guy to go scoop up if he's available.
I think he's good to have on your bench just in case he starts to get targeted a little more.
He saw 5 targets this past week.
He's definitely the most talented receiver not named T.Y. Hilton on that team, and I got to think the cream is at some point going to rise to the top with him.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting better, the Chiefs, McCoy came back he's practicing, he's limited. Damian Williams returned to practice, and so did Tyreek Hill.
I just kind of threw up in my mouth a little bit. That backfield, man, you go into the season thinking the Kansas City backfield is going to have one guy that's just going to dominate.
No,
and now there's like 50 guys back there.
I got to give Andy Reid credit, though. Like, LaShawn McCoy's been in his system before he comes in. He puts up really good numbers.
No, he's doing good there. It's actually a good fit for him.
And they're all probably decent flex starts, at least 2 out of the 3 or 4.
Which 2 out of the 3 which week?
I would say this week probably McCoy and Williams, if both of those guys are playing.
Darrell Williams?
Damian. I think you'll see Darrell phased out a little bit, but who knows?
Saquon Barkley was spotted off to the side of practice jogging. Like I said yesterday, he has shedded the boot. He is not yet ruled out for week 5. per the coach, but looking like he probably will be. But week 6 return is a very good possibility.
I mean, guys, you all listen to me. You all have Wayne Gallman on your bench anyway. You did the right thing and you handcuffed him. Everybody I know, almost everybody I know, John didn't handcuff him. He would have won last week, too, if he had Wayne Gallman.
I'm sorry, but Jordan Howard having a career game.
Don't forget Corey Davis.
Corey Davis.
No.
So just on a funny side note, John went against a newer member of our league of record.
And scored the second most points because the guy who beat me scored the most.
And he scored the most points because Jordan Howard, probably the worst fantasy running back of all time, the worst consistently started, or the worst starter, probably, and Corey Davis, the worst starter, probably, at the wide receiver level. John went against both of them, which you would think is an easy win, and they both somehow managed to go off.
Yep,
But if you had Wayne Gallman, you would have won.
Okay, speaking of bye-week fill-ins, Dontrell Inman was a bye-week fill-in last week, but not anymore because he just got sent to IR for his quad.
He did a good job, though.
He did, 12.5 points last week.
Yeah.
But
Henry's got to be coming back soon. Is he anywhere in the news on where his recovery's at, Hunter Henry?
Yes, I will talk about that. It's near the top.
Okay.
So, Demary Bird, a hamstring, and Christian Kirk with his ankle are both out of practice still. Looking like they are not going to play this week. They have not been ruled out officially yet, but looking like Andy Isabella will play, and he will play the outside.
And that's the best spot for Andy Isabella. I know people don't think that because he's a short white dude, but this guy is as fast as they come, and he's a playmaker. He's a yak type of guy, very similar to Paris Campbell's skill set. He could be a really sneaky spot start this week if you're desperate.
John Ross was placed on IR, and he is out at least 8 games. Auden Tate is expected to be the number 2 with Ross out.
Hopefully you went and got Auden Tate. If he's on your waiver wire, go get him and spend some fab on him because it sounds like AJ Green might get traded.
And hope that you still don't have Andy Dalton on your team.
Dalton has proven that he can support a couple of wide receivers. He definitely had a rough week this week. Noah is still reeling from his Tyler Boyd experience this week and abruptly traded him to me, which that I appreciate. But yeah, Auden Tate could be an interesting. Keep in mind he's the 4th receiver on the team, so how skilled is he? But sometimes all that matters is targets and opportunity, and he'll get that presumably.
Marlon, the return of the Mac, did not practice today. Ankle.
Mac is whack.
Yep.
I would never own him.
He may get cleared by the end of the week like he did last week. Excuse me. I wouldn't get my hopes up though. They may rest him here, but just keep your eye out. He did not practice, but same thing as last week.
So who would you rather have, John? Naheem Hines or Wilkins if he does not play, if Mac does not play?
I would rather have Hines.
Me too. Noah?
Yeah, Hines.
He's got that pass catching ability. He's gonna be out there for passing down, so I would definitely go Hines.
On the Green Bay side, Jamal Williams did not practice. He's still out with his concussion, and Devontae Adams is still sidelined with his turf toe. I think here that Adams will not play. They're speculating that he will be ruled out this week, which would boost values to MVS and
Geronimo
Allison.
But I think so much that Devontae's not going to play that I went out and I acquired MVS from a league mate just to play it.
And you also picked up Jimmy Graham, which was
I picked up Jimmy Graham in the Dynasty League. Yes,
I have 3 tight ends in that league. That's why I couldn't pick him up.
Well, I've got Hunter Henry hurt, so I've been mixing and matching. I went with Witten the last couple of weeks, which has been okay.
Graham's had a touchdown every week, I think, or all but one week.
And Graham really is the only red zone target on that team with Devontae Adams out. So
yeah, it's a really bad.
He is the red zone target. Adams hasn't got a red zone.
No, you're right, which is kind of stupid. But like I said, in last week's game, I think had Adams been out there those last 2 drives, he definitely would have been targeted.
Oh, 100%.
Noah, you were going to say something?
Yeah, just like I said, it's a really bad week to play, have injuries on their offense and play Dallas, who has a monster front 7.
They got a good secondary, too. I mean,
their secondary's pretty good, but they're, Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch might be the best linebacker duo.
Those guys are incredible.
One of the best duos I've ever seen. I mean, the offense already isn't clicking for Green Bay, so it's,
It looked better last week. I'll tell you, Jerry Jones knows how to select talent. He can't select coaches to save his life, but he damn sure can select talent.
I agree.
On the field.
Mark Andrews did not practice Wednesday, but he has taken, I think, every Wednesday off since the season started. So I think this is just a precautionary thing. More than likely, he'll probably practice tomorrow, but he has had every Wednesday off since the season started. So I would not be concerned here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the reason why Belichick would be trying to trade for a receiver like Diggs, because that game last
he's
week,
excellent.
Cause he's really good, and last week worried a lot of people with the way Buffalo shut down that offense.
I'm telling you guys, it broke my heart and John and I talked about this. Stephon Diggs is one of my top 5 favorite players in the NFL. That's legit. And it broke my heart to trade him, but I just don't trust Mr. You Suck, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
And, I trust Brady not less, but because Brady's obviously a better quarterback, but they just have a different style there.
Yeah, you don't trust their system.
Right. There would have been weeks where Antonio Brown would have got you 6 points just because it's an Edelman week or it's a White week or it's a Dorsett week. You know what I mean? You just never really know.
The Patriots system is a fantasy trap, and you better know who's going to go off or you're going to get burned every week.
So I will say this.
They'll also teach you how to tackle without getting fined for it, too.
Well, I mean, they're Goodell's boys.
I'm over this.
So anyway, though.
See what I have to deal with?
On a serious note, I'm telling you guys, I'm reading the tea leaves, and I can read the tea leaves pretty well. Especially, I was talking like you now.
Sweet.
Especially when it comes to New England, Stephon Diggs will be on that team by the end of the week. Is my number 1 prediction. Number 2, it's not a prediction, it's a suggestion. If that happens, his stock will be so high. But I'm telling you guys, you're looking at a very similar scenario for Diggs. Not as bad, definitely better. But he's still not a guarantee every week to score you buku points. If he goes to New England, his stock will be so high, you can rake it in for that guy. And
if you're smart, you trade him the second he gets traded.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I'm telling you. You trade him, and you get the boat
You
for
can
him.
You can get
Because the numbers you're going to expect at him are not going to be as high as you think. I see 5 to 6 receptions, 60-yard average a week.
So anyway, Noah, as a Diggs owner, a new Diggs owner, where do you stand on
I stand on that. Well, what's funny is when AB got picked up by the Pats, I had him in my Dynasty League, and I was thinking, wow, people think AB is going to just take over MVP-type season. And I think that's the trap people fall into. When a good player goes to the Patriots, you're like, they're going to continue that because they're on a good team, in a good system. But that system doesn't, run through Brady. It doesn't run through Gordon. It runs through whoever they're playing that week. So players come in, they can't learn the playbook, or they struggle because it's not their system.
That's another thing too, and you're not wrong about that, Noah. I mean, we've seen guys, Chad Johnson. The trajectory of Chad Johnson's career was a Hall of Fame trajectory, and then he got to New England. He just couldn't figure it out because at the time, Cincinnati's offense was very basic.
Yep,
there wasn't a lot to it.
Run this route, catch this ball. Then you go to the Patriots, run this tree route, and they're like, he's like, what's a tree route?
Yeah, and I'm not so sure those are the specifics of it, but definitely it's a transition. But yeah, Diggs would be great for that team, man. And I'd love to see Diggs win a championship, and what better opportunity would you have to win one over there? So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll move on. Case Keenum is in a walking boot. Colt McCoy and Dwayne Haskins are sharing first-team reps this week so far in practice, but the starting quarterback has not been named yet. I apologize for that.
Can I say something real quick? Please don't, Washington, please don't kill Haskins' career before it starts. Bench him.
I think Haskins...
He already killed it last week.
Yeah.
I think the problem is you throw him in now, you're throwing him in a situation where he literally has, his best weapon is Terry McLaurin. McLovin. Alright, sorry.
Says McLovin.
McLovin. But that's a rookie receiver. His best weapon is a rookie receiver. Darius Geis is gone.
Who coincidentally played with Haskins in college.
Yeah, which it could be good, but I wouldn't throw Haskins into a situation where, listen, you got a beat up receiving core, your defense is awful, so you'll always be playing from behind. Start McCoy it is?
Colt McCoy, yes.
Start Colt McCoy. Give Haskins the year. Maybe at the end of the year you do the Pat Mahomes thing where, with what Andy Reid did, you start him last couple of games, let him get some reps, and so you go into the offseason knowing what you really need to work on.
I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think there's really no need to put Haskins in there other than to see what you have with him. Mm-hmm. But, like you said, really, it's McLovin, Chris Thompson and nobody else.
Yeah, they're
I think what they needed to do.
And Haskins did throw 50 TDs last year in school, too.
I think
So
Haskins...
he's got skills.
Earliest case scenario that he should start, I think, is when Geis comes back from IR, then give him a chance, because they'll actually have a decent run game. Peterson...
But Geis might not be back till week 11, 12, John.
But
you know what I mean?
even then, starting 4 games, if you're trash, if your team is trash by then and you're buried, you have nothing to lose at that point. You start him now, who knows what damage it'll do mentally to him. I mean, they have 2 other quarterbacks. They have Colt McCoy they can give a try at this point, but I think he needs to sit back and learn the playbook more.
I don't want to spend my whole night talking about Dwayne Haskins and the Redskins. I will say this. We're all waiting for the next Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes is a once-in-a-generation type of guy.
Yeah.
So.
Once in a millennium, maybe.
Could possibly, yeah.
Michael Gallup is expected to play this Sunday against the Packers, so that's great news for the Cowboys to get another good receiver.
That's huge news, and I know you kind of talked, John, about, and maybe you're going to go into this at some point, but A.J. Green being on the Cowboys' radar. I just don't understand why. I don't think it's a need. I think Gallup is a great talent and as good a wide receiver, too, as you're going to get. And he's proven when he's out there this year that the tide rises. The offense rises with him out there on the field.
Gallup last year was a little raw. This year, his routes are crisper. I think
he was banged up last year.
Yeah, no, he was somebody we talked about earlier in the season as a sleeper, and the first couple of games he played, he actually looked good.
In full disclosure, you were more positive over about him than I was.
Yeah.
Probably just being a true Cowboys fan, just assuming that it's probably
it's too good to be true.
Anyway, no, kid looks great, and it'll be good to see him back out there, and they need him after that tough loss last week.
Excuse me.
Again, if Allen were out on the field at the end of the New England game, I'm not so sure New England would have won. If Gallup was on the field last week, I'm not so sure New Orleans would have won. Similar situations.
Yep. Juju did not practice yet today, and as well as James Conner, they both set out today's practice.
Juju probably just needs a mental break from playing with Tim Tebow Jr.
Yeah.
And Conner is his ankle, I know that for sure.
And Conner is probable for this week. Everything I've seen, he's probable, and he just came off a great game, so I wouldn't be too concerned about his availability this weekend.
Rashad Penny has finally been removed from the injury report and will play Thursday night.
Gonna be interesting this week. Can't wait.
Chris Godwin did not practice.
I just want to remind Rashad Penny that I have been supporting him the whole time. Don't let me down.
Chris Godwin did not practice today for the Bucs, but I think they're just being precautionary with him, just resting him up.
Chris Godwin was a game-time decision that scored 8,000 points last week.
Yeah, I will tell.
Not worried.
Yep. McLovin was limited at practice today, but he practiced, so
that's good.
it's
Step
positive
in the right
news
direction.
there.
Yeah. Are you starting him?
As of right now,
if he plays?
Yes, just because of his target share.
Who are your options? I'm assuming it's flex.
Him or Auden Tate.
Those are tough options.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Washington is playing.
I have Galladay on a
Auden
bye.
Tate goes against Arizona, bro.
Yeah, I take that.
That's a sweet matchup.
Because
apparently without Patrick Peterson. I thought he was a 4-game
I thought he was a 4-game suspension as
He's
well.
He's a 6-gamer. But anyway.
McLovin's going up against New England this week, so.
Yeah, I might go Tate in that scenario. Yeah. But flip
McLovin also went against the Bears and did well.
He did. Yeah.
That's true.
He might be an alpha talent.
Yep.
He really might.
Chris Hogan went to injury reserve for the Panthers, so
that's a shame.
Yep.
Apparently, according to John, though, that's a huge boost for DJ Moore's value. So the one target he gave me he was getting.
Hey, it's still more targets to go around other than Chris Hogan. Darius Wright would be the beneficiary here, which he saw, I think, 5 or 6 targets this past week with Kyle Allen that DJ loves so much.
Josh Allen's idiot kid brother. That's what I'm going with.
Hunter Henry worked out in Wednesday's portion of practice open to the media.
Good news for me in Dynasty.
But he is unlikely to suit up until week 8.
I'm gonna have to roll with Jimmy Graham this week. Week 8. Come on,
week 8.
Man.
But it's positive.
Hunter Henry is such a porcelain doll. That guy, man.
I'm
gonna take a drink of my coffee.
The last bit of news: Josh Gordon has been added to the injury report as of today, but he was limited at practice, so he's got a good chance to play.
Yeah.
Press point.
So do you buy low on Gordon, or are you nervous about Diggs?
I
think he's a buy low candidate, but I don't know.
I say you sit back and wait to see the news, because if you buy Gordon too high, you may pay for it.
I don't know how high he is right now, though.
I mean, he had one really good game versus Pittsburgh, and
He
then
did,
other
yeah.
than that, it was.
Who has him? Do you have him?
No.
Sorry, we're talking about our league of record. I can't help myself sometimes. I am the trade whisperer, after all. All right, are you done with news?
That's it.
All right, John, you lead the charge this week. You can lead us into the slate of games.
We're going to start with Thursday night's game. It is the LA Rams, who are 3-1, at the Seattle Seahawks, who are 3-1. The Seahawks are favored in this game.
The biggest thing in this game is going to be pass protection. I think Jared Goff's been sacked 6 times.
Cooper Kupp enters this game with 3 straight games of at least 100 yards receiving for the Rams.
Yeah, that's going to be big, man.
Cooper Kupp I'm starting to think this guy's a legit stud. Noah and I were negotiating a deal with Diggs, and he didn't know this, but while I was negotiating that deal, that's why it took me like a full day to accept.
Yeah.
Because I was working on trying to get Cooper Kupp, and it didn't happen. But yeah, I love Cooper Kupp. This guy is an alpha receiver.
He's a target machine.
I think he's matchup proof. I really do. I mean, unless he faces a true shutdown corner. But at the same time, the great thing about the Rams, if you're a Kupp owner, is Cooks could draw that coverage as well.
Yes.
So I love the situation for Kupp. I think you're starting him every week, to be perfectly frank with you. Then you look at Todd Gurley. He's been a little iffy as of late. His receptions last week really helped him have a decent game. And this week facing Seattle, middle of the pack run defense. So I think he's a safe start. I just don't know if you're going. I think this could be a shootout, John. I don't know what you think about that, but I could see this game turning into what Tampa's game turned into last week with LA, and it could be a shootout.
So before the Rams have developed into the team they are with Gurley, Woods, Kupp, Cooks, and even with this talent, this has always been a competitive game, and the Rams have always had the upper hand. For some reason, Russell Wilson does not play good against the Rams.
Is it in LA?
It's in Seattle.
This game is at Seattle, which is going to be tough.
He has that going for him. Goff is on the road. He's not good on the road.
He's not. That's a true story.
That's a true story. So this game may be more competitive than we think, but I think the Rams have the upper hand as it relates to defense here.
Yeah. Seattle's like middle of the pack in every
category.
On
Well,
defense.
they always have a decent defense. They're never gonna die by their defense. You know?
Right.
But I think 2 big people this week that no one's talking about is Metcalf and Lockett. Because last week Tampa Bay just aired it out on them. Godwin, Evans, everyone. And look for Disley over the middle just to keep him honest. But Lockett specifically, I think, could have a really good game.
Lockett's been seeing, I think other than one game where he got targeted once, he's been seeing a high target amount. So I think he's fine to start.
I mean, I think Lockett's in a category where you almost have to start him every week now. He is the number 1 receiver there after all. I think he's going to obviously have those games where he could just completely bust you, and he can even goose you. Like, that's possible. It's happened. But against the Rams, I think it's just going to be a high-octane, fast-paced game, and I almost feel like you can start everybody in this one. This is a fire everything, fire all the cannons type of game. I've been wrong about that before, but neither of these defenses are stout. Neither of these defenses are what I would consider swarming Ds, although LA looked great until last week in terms of the secondary, but then they just got torched last week. And I think if you look at DK Metcalf, if you look at Tyler Lockett, if you look at David Moore, even some of the other guys, and if you look at the two running backs now that they're going to have out there that can catch passes, I think they're gonna beat up this defense pretty good. I think LA is going to beat up Seattle's defense a little bit, but that crowd is a difference maker. So I think number 1, I think Seattle's going to win this game. Number 2, I think you can legit start everybody in this one.
Oh yeah.
Okay, now we'll move on to the next game. Next game is the Buffalo Bills, who are 3-1 at the Tennessee Titans, who are 2-2. The Titans are favored in this game as the home favorites.
If Josh Allen's got to play for him to have a chance. I don't see Matt Barkley beating this Titans D.
I'm reluctant to start any Bills this week. Tennessee is just so much. I don't think it's a secret anymore. I think it was a secret for a little while that Tennessee's D was really, really good. I don't think it's a secret anymore. I think Buffalo's going to struggle offensively in this one. I think it's going to be similar to the Patriots game last week, and I would not start any of them. And frankly, I'm probably not starting anybody in Tennessee outside of Derrick Henry.
Nope. Even
and
Derrick
maybe
Henry.
Delaney Walker.
Yeah, that Buffalo defense, let me tell you, as a Pats fan last week, I couldn't even be mad, man. That defense looked
It's a good D.
amazing.
It's a good D. But if Tennessee can manage to get up, I mean, look what happened this past week, guys. Tennessee got up, and then they gave Derrick Henry 27 carries. All right, we scored a few touchdowns, and we're just going to hand it to Henry for the rest of the game. And I think you could see that this week. So for me, it's just Derrick Henry. This is just a crap show of a fantasy outing here.
Interesting stat for this game: the Bills have accumulated 100+ rushing yards in all 4 games this season, though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're starting Gore.
Or Singletary, depending if he comes back.
Yeah, and I've been supportive of Gore all season, so I guess I'd be a hypocrite to say don't start Gore. So I guess you can start him, but I'd love to see Josh Allen have a big game, but if he plays, but it's just Tennessee is no joke, man, no joke. So I'm sitting him probably for Daniel Jones this week, and that's a tough decision because neither of them have a great matchup.
Nope.
Okay, on to the next game. The Atlanta Falcons, who are 1-3, versus the Houston Texans, who are 2-2. Texans are the home favorites here.
Yeah, I can see the Texans being the home favorite. I mean, the favorites. They're the Falcons, man. Like, listen.
Go ahead. I'm just laughing.
They had the 7th best pass defense. Then their captain safety. I can't remember his name.
Captain safety?
Yeah, the safety.
I'm just going to let you struggle.
Captain
here.
safety, you're going to let...
Jonathan Joseph?
No, they're... A defensive leader went out for Atlanta, and they've gotten torched the past 2 weeks.
Keanu Neal.
Yeah, Keanu Neal. All right. Yeah, so...
Captain Safety.
Well, like, I couldn't think of his
Captain
name.
Safety,
I
for the
almost-
rescue!
I almost said Keneal Harry. No, I almost said Keneal, but... No,
the Captain and Tennille!
they've gotten torn apart the past 2 weeks.
I love this show right now.
Listen, can I make this? I'm going to help you out here, young man. Keanu Neal is, and what Noah is saying is legit. Keanu Neal is the glue that holds this defense together. We saw what happened to this team last year when he got hurt. Completely changed their defense into a powder puff, and that already has looked to be the same. Atlanta is the 10th worst team against quarterbacks. And that was with Keanu Neal, holding them together for a couple of games. So they're really worse than that. I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to go back to the Aaron Rodgers playbook. And all you Deshaun Watson owners, just RELAX. Relax. Because this week, Deshaun Watson is going to go off. Deshaun Watson has some more easy matchups down the road. Next week at Kansas City, then he's got Indy, then he's got Oakland, then he's got Jacksonville, who's not great against quarterbacks. Not only is Deshaun Watson going to go off this week, and you're definitely starting him. Yes, that's correct. DeAndre Hopkins is going off again.
I think
let me tell you, there you go. You stole my thunder on this one. Will Fuller is going off this week as well. Start Will Fuller in your flex if you got him.
I also think here that the Falcons are going to go off too.
I think the Falcons are going to have to keep up. Yeah. So I'm a little concerned about Devonta Freeman, but he might get enough. He might get enough passing game work to give you a good floor. But
I don't trust him with Watt and company.
Ridley's back this week, I think. Start Calvin Ridley this week. Start Julio Jones this week.
I think you have to start the passing. Hooper scares me with the linebacking core for Houston, but as it relates to receivers, I think Sanu would be a safe pick this week. Julio Jones. And the reason I say this is Matt Ryan has
I think Sanu takes a backseat to Ridley, but I get what you're
wrong.
I get what you're saying there.
Yeah, he still has a safe floor, 10 points, I think. Matt Ryan has thrown for 300 yards in every game so far this season. That's why I'm saying play the pass.
But just real quick on Hooper, you mentioned Hooper. This is a sit week for Hooper.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
These guys are the 3rd toughest defense against tight ends. Don't expect much. Go ahead, Noah.
I think someone that you could also sneak in there. I think Houston's going to lead this whole game. I don't think it's going to be that close. Carlos Hyde, he's looked not that bad. They're playing a team that is 18th against the rush. Give them a start.
That's middle of the pack. They were almost dead last year against running backs. Yeah. So they're middle of the pack.
I think it's. I'm gonna see your Carlos Hyde and raise you a Duke Johnson, because Duke got a lot more usage last week. He got a lot more carries last week. I think this could be a Duke Johnson game, because I do think it's going to be a shootout.
I think the scales are tipping now. I think you're starting to see Johnson more involved because
I think Hyde's probably the goal line back, so I think it's going to be a high enough scoring game where you've got a good floor out of it.
I'm thinking like if they're up in the game that Hyde's one of those guys that is comfortable with like 20, 25 carries a game just to like.
But I don't see him getting that here. I think this game is going to be a passing game, a lot of passing.
I think it's going.
They're going to try to establish the run, but Deion Jones is still in that linebacking core for Atlanta, and they're not great against the run, but compared to what they were last year, they were 31st to 32nd against running backs. This year they're 18. That's a huge improvement.
Let me ask you this question, because it just popped into my head. Are you starting Kiki QT in a deeper league this week? Because as much as I think it's Will Fuller, it could be QT this week.
I'm going to say no because Kenny still scares me. His usage has been there too. So
but, yeah, I think Skills is more of the Fuller prototype, and I think QT's just that he is an excellent slot receiver.
He is.
He's just never out there.
He's been always injured, nagging injuries. That's what scares me.
But he could be a sneaky start this week.
He'll probably have like 11 receptions.
He very well could.
I'd feel comfortable playing really any receiver in this matchup.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. Knowing that they're not all going to go off, but you got a pretty good chance of whoever you're starting having a great game. What's next, John? Are we done with those guys?
Yes, we are done with that game. The Baltimore Ravens, who are 2-2, visit Pittsburgh and the Tebow Steelers.
Oh my God!
He hates Mason Rudolph.
He's not good. Like when I'm going to go on this rant again. You're triggering me. When you have to build an offense around a guy to where you cannot script anything more than a 5-yard pass, that guy probably shouldn't be in the NFL. All I'm saying.
Mason Rudolph?
Yes, that's all I'm saying.
He's killing Juju right now, dude. Like, he's killing the potential of one of the best receivers in the league because he can't throw more than 5 yards down the field.
So again, I will go back to this and say, unless they're just letting Rudolph get more and more comfortable each week, which doesn't help you now as a Juju owner either. Like, I'm starting Juju this week because I feel obligated because I know he can catch that 80-yard bomb for a touchdown. Mm-hmm. But that's really the only saving grace for him right now. If you have better options, I've got Devontae Adams hurt, so I'm rolling out MVS in a tough matchup. I've got Juju out there. I've got Tyler Boyd out there. You know what I mean? But I have to start those guys because I'm in a situation where Josh Jacobs has a horrible matchup.
Yeah.
So, but if you have other options, which you probably don't, because you probably took Juju in the first or second round, start him. But if you got better options, I would sit him. If you're lucky enough to have a bunch of studs at wide receiver, I would sit him this week.
I mean, I could see this week maybe them open up some shots downfield.
Against Baltimore, though?
Baltimore, they're ranking one of the last, man. And let's be honest, like
against the run, though.
No, they've been they're 30th or 28th or 30th against the pass. Because let's be honest, you gain Earl Thomas instead of Eric Weddle. But you lose C.J. Mosley, Zaire Alexander, and Terrell Suggs. I mean, that defense is still stuck.
Baltimore, you know what? Good job, Noah. Baltimore 10th worst against the pass.
So, I'm not saying, you should be scared of...
Mahomes put a little damage on that.
But so did...
But, I mean, we're going into week 5.
Too. Yeah, no, I'm not down.
And you're right.
I mean, Baker came in, that offense was struggling, and Baker came in and put 40 on us.
But I don't see the Ravens losing 3 in a row.
I didn't know, but Noah brings up
stats are there.
All I'm saying is Noah brings up a valid point. This defense isn't what the press clippings have said that it is.
No, this is a tough rivalry. The last 10 games, it is a 5.
Why are you shouting?
I'm not trying to. It's a 5-5 matchup. So I don't see Baltimore losing this game.
Even with that being said, Noah, if you're starting Juju, I would not expect much.
Yeah, I could see that.
Jalen Samuels, is he going to do it again this week?
If Connor's out, definitely.
Well, Connor's not going to be out. I can pretty much confirm, guys, that Connor's not going to be out. I think you're rolling him out there this week. If Connor is playing, which he likely is, I just saw today that he's probable, are you starting Jalen Samuels? We're starting them both.
I say
in a very deep 16-team league.
Yes. I think you kind of have to with the usage you saw last week. Plus, even if Connor's probable, I think there's still that chance of possibly it might be a split backfield here.
It looks like
what they did.
It looks like they're going with that split backfield. Like versus Cincinnati, they had a lot of packages where they had Samuels and Connors in.
Samuels looks legit.
But this is where this is where we have to be careful, because guess what? Minnesota had a strategy where they were just going to run the ball and run the ball and run the ball and run the ball and not use their 2 all-pro receivers, and it worked until it didn't. So is this game script, John, going to allow that to happen against Baltimore in a team that has Hollywood Brown on it, that has Lamar Jackson on it, that has these home run hitting guys on the ground and through the air? Are you okay over there, Caden?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Caden's having a lot of fun in the corner over there.
Yeah, talking to myself.
So anyway, can they do that this week, or are they going to have to play catch up? And if they're going to have to play catch up, Major Rudolph's going to have to put his big boy pants on and throw down the field. Right?
No, it's true, and I think they're going to have to utilize both here. If they do get behind, they're going to have to throw the ball, and I can't see them if they just leave Connor out there in the backfield. And he can catch as well. They might deploy both backs at the same time.
And I know you think Mason Rudolph's a terrible QB, but
That's because he is.
we should look at it from a perspective of Mike Tomlin, though. Like, you
He's
drafted
also
this guy.
kind of a terrible coach, too.
Yeah, because
Let's face it, it's been a long time.
We can go into that. That's a whole that's a future 30 for 30 for sure.
Farrah Fawcett was hot a long time ago.
Oh yeah. So you
Not
draft
so much
this guy,
anymore.
and you know
Is Farrah
Big
Fawcett
Ben's
dead?
done.
I don't know. That was probably really disrespectful.
Wow.
I just, I think after that Patriots game, week 1, Tomlin was like, all right, we're going to be fighting to get into the playoffs, and it's going to be like tooth and nail. And now, Big Ben's gone. Now you're just looking to see the young guys. Why? I don't know why they trade for Minkah Fitzpatrick to try to stay relevant with their defense, try to add some help, because this is a rebuilding year.
Yeah. But is Fitzpatrick in a contract year? I mean, I don't know that
No, he has
situation.
2 or 3 years.
So they've got him for
but
a long haul.
you say it's a rebuilding year. For them, it's not a rebuilding year because you wouldn't dump your first, 3rd, and 5th round pick for next year.
That's
Have
what
they
I'm saying.
watched their quarterback play football?
I know, but if a rebuilding year would be to tank and get the first pick next year,
Which they might want to do. Ben's at
But-
the end of his road.
Guess
Yeah.
what? They just traded their 1st round, their 3rd round, and their 5th round for next year. So they're
This
not
is true.
rebuilding. They're
Yeah.
trying to stay competitive,
Yeah.
and it might implode on them.
Well, this is the same coach that
I
had
can see if you're
Le'Veon, AB,
if
and
you're
Big
trading-
Ben for how
if-
many years?
if
And
you're-
how many Super Bowls you go to?
No, if you're trading your 2022 pick or your 2023 picks, I can see that, but they're trading next year's picks away already.
That's
So
what
listen,
I'm
listen,
saying.
let's
It's
get
so
back-
confusing.
Let's get back to the fantasy perspective here, which is what we're here for. I'm only safely starting James Conner, and I'm not. Because Baltimore's got a horrible run D, so I think you can start both Conner and Samuels, and I think you have to start Juju, but just be aware you're probably not going to see a huge game from him.
Don't think you're going to get a sneaky play out of James Washington or anything, no.
So we talked about Minkah Fitzpatrick. Is this defense good now? Because they weren't to start the season.
They've improved, but they're still not. I think they had a great matchup this week against Cincinnati, because remember we talked about last night, Cincinnati gave up the 2nd most sacks in the league. I don't see them. Baltimore is one of the best rushing offenses in the league. I actually think that they are the best rushing offense in the league. Even if they stop Lamar Jackson here, are they going to be able to stop Ingram?
Yeah, and Ingram faces, to date, the 8th easiest team, or the 8th worst team against running backs, however you want to look at it. So this is a sweet matchup for him. I think you're starting Ingram for sure. That's a lock.
Yep.
I think you're starting Lamar Jackson for sure. That's a lock.
Hollywood.
And Mark Andrews and Hollywood are
Yep.
wheels up for all those guys. I think you're
Okay.
going to see big games from
Let's go to the next game. The
Noah, would you agree on that? All those guys? The four horsemen of the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh,
I like
100%.
that.
I still
Should
think
make that a poster.
I think this game's not going to be that close either. I think Baltimore's going to run away with it. I don't see Pittsburgh keeping
I hope
pace
they
with
do,
them.
because then Mason Rudolph's going to have to put his boy pants on.
He hates Mason for the passion.
I can't.
Let's go to the next game. Speaking of hating, is we'll get back to it in a second. The New England Patriots are at the Washington Redskins, who are 0-4. We know the Patriots are undefeated 4-0. Patriots are the favorite here. Who you starting for the Redskins?
McLovin and Chris Thompson.
If even What scares me is if
Chris Thompson is a sneaky good floor.
I could see Chris Thompson having a good game, but McLaurin versus Gilmore, even then.
No, you got to start McLovin here because of garbage time.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think of
time.
that.
Garbage
time.
But let's talk about garbage time. Who's going to be the quarterback? Are they going to put in Haskins at halftime? And
Garbage.
It doesn't matter either way. It's garbage time.
The garbage man can. You ever seen The Simpsons when Homer becomes the custodial? Like, what was it, Andrew? The custodial.
I don't know.
I don't know. He ran for office and he got like the custodial job. And there was a song, "The Garbage Man Can." That's gonna be Terry McLovin this week.
So Redskins side, I don't see any. I agree with you, Thompson and McLovin. That's it.
Hold up on Thompson though. Hold on. What the heck's going on here? I gotta hold please.
I'll go to the Pat side.
So no, hold on. Last week, 4 receptions. Week 4, 4 receptions. Week 4, 5 receptions. Week 4, 7 receptions. On targets of 10, 8, 5, and 5.
So consistency's there in the passing game.
He's going to be there in the passing game. He's not going to get a ton of rushing attempts, but I think his floor is good at a flex position. And McLovin, like you said, I mean, he's going to be uber targeted, one would think.
If it's not the first half of the game, it should be the second half of the game in garbage time.
Yeah, but just keep in mind McLovin could have a bad game here.
He could. Patriots, who are you starting?
I don't know, because does Stephon Diggs throw a stick of dynamite in this whole situation?
It all depends. If that trade goes down, that would change everything.
Absolutely.
The only safe pick I know you can definitely start here is Tom Brady.
Really?
And they're playing, Washington not great on D. I think this is a Brady week.
This is a Brady week. This is a 300-yard game. What worries me is Edelman. I haven't heard much. But he didn't look healthy last week, even though he played.
No, he split. He had some. He didn't get. Wow, I completely just spaced. But no, he was limited in a bit of sorts. He was on a snap count.
He wasn't right last week.
No, he wasn't. You could tell. Josh Gordon was covered last week. You see Josh Gordon.
Is Gordon on the injury report?
He is. He's limited with his knee, but he did practice.
Because I think this could be a Gordon week.
Yeah. He lines up against
Dorsett.
Dorsett,
yeah.
Josh Norman should be covering Gordon, but Josh Norman is half the man he used to be.
What he used to be.
Ding, ding, ding.
Let's talk about
neither is Gordon, but Gordon's still better.
I still think Gordon's better. I think this is a Gordon week.
Anyway, Noah, who are you looking at for New England?
I'm looking at Philip Dorsett too, because Brady does love Dorsett. Jacoby Myers might get some love with Edelman being limited, but I wouldn't count on that. But I really, if you have Burkhead or Sonny, I would probably.
Why do you guys call him Sonny? Sonny. It's like the PlayStation.
I know, but I have a PS4, so represent.
Sony Michelle. So he was kind of the elephant in the room that we hadn't touched on yet. I hope Sony has a great week.
We have him.
I am starting him in our tag team league. A little reluctant, but I could see where this is the week where we finally get the playoff Sony Michelle against Washington. I don't know where you guys stand on that.
Yesterday, I told you when we were talking Panic Attack, I think Sonny Michelle is a late bloomer.
The Sonny.
Sorry, Sony. I'll just say Michelle. I think Michelle, like I said yesterday, is a late bloomer. As the season progressed, he got better.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to happen here. I'm not saying a 100-yard game. I'm saying probably 70, 80 yards this week.
And what happened?
In Washington's the 13th worst against running backs, so it's a pretty good
But
matchup.
they're going to focus on stopping Brady. That's where
Sonny comes in.
Sony.
What
is with you guys?
So the only thing that
is this a rib?
Sonny's gotten off to a slow start, but then again, the Pats O line. The Pats O-line's been banged up. The James Devlin's been out. But this week
Devlin's out for the year, I think.
Yeah, he's a touchdown ball.
Well, it's been a little cloudy for Sonny, aka Sony. So, but I think this is a get right week for him. I think you need to start him this
100%.
especially given that he is the goal line back. I think he's. But you never know. Billy Boy could just change his mind and be like, "Ooh, Philip Dorsett's our goal line back
Bolden's got the only.
This will probably be the week.
Bolden got the only touchdown.
This could be a Brandon Bolden week.
Damien Harris week, probably.
Yeah, it could be.
Right?
It really could.
So
but I think you start every Patriot you have that's relevant.
Yeah.
Dorsett, I'm a little nervous about. If you don't have better options, go ahead and start him. If Edelman's out there, you have to start him. I think Edelman could have a huge game. I think Gordon and Edelman could both go off here, and I think Sony will have 10 to 15.
Okay, let's go to the next game. The Arizona Cardinals, who are 0-3-1, face the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 0-4. The Bengals are the favorite at home.
Which is
I'm sorry,
crazy to me.
I just heard a funny joke. You just said Cincinnati Bengals, so I just automatically.
I know the Bengals are favored here. I'm still taking the Cardinals in this one because the Bengals are trying to avoid their 7th consecutive loss.
Yeah, the Bengals have a really bad rush defense too, so I'm telling you, it's going to be Kyler Murray.
Cincinnati's
and
the
DJ.
second worst team against the run.
They're done.
David Johnson, Mr. Sorois, is going to eat and eat and eat until his belly is full this week.
I hope I get the Jordan Howard week.
I hope Tyler Boyd has a huge game. I think he will. Still Patrick Peterson-less Arizona secondary.
And they're bad across the board either way, running the ball or stopping the run. And
so you're looking at
the pass.
two bad defenses. I said this about the Pittsburgh-Cincy game where this should be a high-scoring affair.
And it wasn't.
Two bad defenses, but it was for Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Not so much Cincinnati, but this is not a primetime game, which Dalton does not perform well in primetime games, which you saw that on Monday. So that's an advantage for Cincy. It's in Cincinnati. It's at 1 o'clock where he can blend in and fly right under the radar and play good and not have to worry about a lot of people watching him.
I just looked at Andrew and just mouthed not happening. Just
I think Dalton's a good start this week. And I think it's easy for us to forget that through the first 4 weeks, Dalton was pretty good, guys. Like, he was not bad at all. I think he bounces back this week. I think it's going to hurt that he doesn't have John Ross, but I think he's just going to heavily target Boyd. Mixon should have a good week, too, if they're smart enough to use him heavily in the passing game. That's always the question mark, though.
Yeah, I love what Cliff Sperry's doing with Kyler in that offense, man. They actually don't look that bad, man.
Are you sure he's not your biological son?
Why?
What about Tyler?
Cliff Kingsbury.
Kingsbury?
You said Cliffsbury.
Did I really?
You blended them together.
Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't finish 12th grade English. I'm sorry.
You starting Tyler here for the Bengals?
Who?
Sorry.
Oh, Eifert?
Eifert.
Yeah, the Bengals.
Yeah.
Arizona's dead last against tight ends. You are missing John Ross. I think you have to start.
I think he
Tyler
becomes
Eifert.
a red zone threat like we discussed last night.
I agree, and I'm almost guaranteeing that Tyler Eifert has a big game. I'll go as
I
far
can
as
see
to say
five.
that.
I can see 5 receptions on targets.
But it could be Uzama popping in there and having a big game. So who knows? But I think it's Eifert.
It could be Auden Tate having a big game.
I think it's Eifert. I think Boyd's good. Mixon's good. I think Eifert has a huge game and has a career-ending injury. Or a season
Wow.
Thank you.
Just like last year.
So Cardinals, you buying into anything other than Kyler Murray and David Johnson here?
Yes, I'm starting Larry Fitzgerald, and I really think Andy Isabella's a sneaky start, especially in deeper leagues.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next game. Jacksonville Jaguars 2-2 versus the Carolina Panthers at home. We're 2-2. Panthers pass defense leads the NFL, only allowing 156 passing yards per contest.
Hey, Gardner Minshew, he's the real deal, boys. If he's still on your waiver wire, pick him up. Maybe not start him this week because I think it's going to be a heavy dose of Fournette. But
so Gunter Minshew, as I like to call him, Carolina actually is not great against the run, so I think you could see a good Fournette game here. But let's not forget what Carolina did to Deshaun Watson last week.
That is true.
I'm a little nervous about Gunter this week, and I was actually in trade talks with John just to add some depth at the position so I could stream quarterbacks. But then I looked at the Carolina matchup, and I'm like, not the week to do it. So honestly, guys, you might be able to start DJ Chark just because he does seem to have that connection with Gunter, but that's about it. Him and Fournette, that's about it. And then on the other side of the ball, I think it's McCaffrey. You're flipping a coin. This is another scenario, much like Minnesota, where it's going to be DJ Moore or Curtis Samuel, not both.
I think it's Curtis Samuel, like I've discussed before. He has chemistry with Kyle Allen. He's been seeing consistent targets with Kyle Allen. And you're talking about a Jaguars team who may not have Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah,
that's talk is still going on.
In Ramsey, I don't know if he knows who he is right now. Anyway, you know what I mean? Like he hasn't looked like the same guy. Sneaky start too at tight end. I don't know how sneaky it is. He might be your every week starter, but Greg Olsen faces the 12th worst team against tight ends with Jacksonville, so he could be a sneaky start here. He could have a huge game this week. So just keep that in mind as well.
You know Carolina's going to feed Christian McCaffrey. You know Jacksonville's going to feed
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey has the best baseline in fantasy football. He really does.
100%.
He has the best floor in the game.
I think besides, you could argue him or Dalvin Cook has been the best running back and or best overall.
Christian
fantasy
McCaffrey
player this
I think
year.
McCaffrey. You look at McCaffrey has had games where his efficiency's crap and he still gets you 15 to 20.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
he has the most rushing attempts. He has 86. The next person next to him is Chubb and Henry at 78.
And for a running back, he's got to have the most targets. He's got to. So anyway, it's definitely, you're starting McCaffrey no matter what, and just cross your fingers he doesn't get hurt because he does get a ton of usage.
Okay, next game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2-2 at the New Orleans Saints, who are 3-1. I think this is going to be a fantasy bonanza.
You know, I thought Dallas and New Orleans was going to be until both those defenses reminded me how good they are. And Teddy Bridgewater hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't been. They haven't really. His leash has been short, I guess. Very similar to the Mason Rudolph situation, but they've been giving him more rope than obviously Rudolph has gotten.
Sean Payton knows how to coach an offense. That's what's keeping the Saints alive right now. That and their defense is playing like old school Marshawn Lattimore.
Yep.
Cam Jordan looks good. That team.
And I think real quick on the Dallas game last week, and I think this is similar to New England this week. Both of those teams played powder puffs week 1 through 3, and I think they got a little shock to their system in week 4 when they actually played against good defenses. So, but I don't know. If you look at the whole year though, New Orleans has not been good against receivers. So I think Chris Godwin and Mike Evans could feast. But given what I saw last week, I mean, they held Amari Cooper in check, did New Orleans. I think that was an outlier, though. I think Dallas wasn't ready, and I think they played poorly. And I think this week, I think Tampa's going to be ready. And they chuck the ball a ton. So
I got to give Bruce Arians credit, man. He's turned around Jameis Winston.
he hasn't turned around O.J.
It's not
Howard.
completely over, yeah.
So you're starting O.J. Howard?
No, he's turned his back on O.J. Howard.
Yeah.
I think it's a personal thing, and I've talked about it before, but I think Howard is just so good where he's going to have games that are just monster games. Is this going to be one of them? That's always the question. I think you're flipping a coin. But yeah, I think you're definitely starting Godwin, right, guys? You're starting Mike Evans.
Kamara, Michael Thomas.
You're starting Winston?
Oh,
Yes.
I could start Winston and feel comfortable.
I think even if the Saints come out winning this game and they get a huge lead, it's going to be garbage time.
Well, let's be honest. Well, minus Deshaun Jackson, Tampa walked into the Dome last year and kind of tore him apart. You're basically trading
This
Godwin.
rivalry
and
is
Deshaun
always
Jackson.
high scoring. That's why I'm saying I think this is going to be a high scoring game between these two, but I could be wrong.
I wouldn't expect
Yeah.
much from Howard this week. The New Orleans is a middle of pack defense against tight ends, and I think obviously they're susceptible more to receivers. So I think you're going to see those two guys have a good game meeting Godwin and Evans. Obviously you're starting Kamara. Obviously you're starting, help me out, John. Thomas, sorry. Shock T. Obviously you're starting him. Are you starting Bridgewater in a streaming situation, Noah?
Here's the thing. If I had no other option, I feel like you could start Bridgewater because he has been pretty efficient. I know he threw a pick last week, but that really wasn't his fault. It went off the receiver's hands.
Tampa can get after the quarterback.
That's what scares me. So I think I wouldn't personally, but if you have no other option, he could get you a good 20 points with a couple Michael Thomas fades.
He just got to limit his turnovers. That's what could be killer for him this week. But
Who's on the bye this week, John? Do you know that?
off the top of my head, I do not without looking.
Because
Detroit's on a bye.
Detroit. So if you get Stafford on a bye and Bridgewater,
Yeah, you don't have a
decent
choice, yeah.
start, yeah.
So, I mean, I just think here, Winston, no matter what, if the Saints do get ahead, he's got garbage time. But
Tampa Bay gives up the 9th most points to the position too. So Bridgewater could be a decent.
he's
start.
got a decent chance. So let's go to the next game.
We're not rolling with Latavius here. We're not rolling.
No.
I mean, I think it's just those two guys every week.
Yep.
Yeah.
New York Jets 0-3 at the Philadelphia Eagles 2-2. The Jets are dead last in the NFL with 200 offense yards per contest. But does this change if Sam Darnold news comes out that he's cleared to play?
If Sam Darnold plays, and I'm speaking directly to you, Noah, you're a fool
Start
if
Robbie.
Robbie Anderson is not in your lineup.
Especially with the
Well,
Eagles' corners. They
yeah,
are
no,
awful.
you know, they're the
Robbie
worst in the
Anderson is a must start in this game if Sam Darnold's out there, and he might be a decent flex start if Sam Darnold's not.
Yeah.
Luke, what the fuck? I'm not sure. You know what I mean? I'm a little nervous about that. But if Darnold's out there, you got to start Robbie Anderson, and you're starting Le'Veon Bell every week based on usage.
His volume is crazy right now.
Well, Eagles have a really good run defense, but they have the worst pass defense. So,
But I think,
but it's Le'Veon.
And Le'Veon's going to catch passes. I think his floor is good enough where you're starting him, and you
Yeah.
probably don't have better options. Even if he was facing the best run defense in the league, you don't have better options. So I think you're definitely starting Bell. Anybody else on that squad, guys? We're a week away from Chris Herndon, so really nothing there. One quick stat, guys, that I heard that kind of was an interesting stat. Adam Gase plays his starters at minimum 90% of the snaps. So you know the Jamison Crowders, the Robbie Andersons, whoever the heck they're starting at tight end now. Those guys are out there 90% of the time, which is pretty important. So does Crowder interest you as a sneaky start this week?
If Darnold plays.
Yeah.
If Darnold doesn't play, no.
So it all hinges on Darnold.
Yes.
So with that being said, are you starting Darnold if he plays this
Yes.
week? Okay. And on the other side of the ball?
I'd be comfortable starting Wentz. Has there been any news on C.J. Mosley yet?
I can look that up.
I haven't heard anything.
I mean, listen.
Philly's side, you got to start Wentz. I think you have to start Ertz. That's a no-brainer. Miles Sanders, I think you can get away with here, but it's still a split backfield, so I'd be limited here on how much you start him. I'd use him more as a flex play. Alshon Jeffrey would be decent here.
Yeah, I could see Nelson Aguilar maybe have one little, drag route across
With
the middle.
Deshaun
touchdown,
Jackson, he
but
still has a chance. So, I mean, Deshaun Jackson
Yeah.
looks like he's not playing again, so.
I just don't trust.
In regards to Mosley, as of October 1st, he wasn't ready to return to practice.
Yep.
Yeah, so
not looking good for him this
I
week.
mean, you could get away. I just don't trust that split backfield right now because Philly fans were calling for the head of Doug Peterson because they wanted Jordan Howard to get carries. He got carries, went off last week, but it's Jordan Howard. He's the most inconsistent back in years.
He'll get 3 points this week just because he got 32 on me this past week.
That's what. That's another thing going for Jordan or people who are playing Jordan Howard. He went off last week versus John, so you're set.
Yeah,
I mean,
career week last week.
If you look seriously at Jordan Howard, he has not been good this year up until last week. His highest carry count was last week with only 15 carries. He had 11 carries the week before, then 8 and then 6. Didn't do much with them. Actually, week 1 he had a pretty good game efficiency-wise, was 6 for 44, 7.3 yards a carry. Week 2, 8 for 18 with 2.3 yards a carry. Week 3, 11 for 37, 3.4 yards a carry. So if I look at it, last week was the outlier scenario for him. And of course, he had tacked on, 3 touchdowns as well. And if you go to Miles Sanders, looking it up real quick, but I'm fairly certain his efficiency has been good more recently, and it has. So the first couple weeks was rough, but then week 3, 4.1 yards a carry. And then last week, week 4, where Jordan Howard dominated the headlines, Miles Sanders sneakily got 11 carries for 72 yards, 6.5 yards a carry. So if he gets the goal line carries, he's the guy that blows up. So maybe he's not the goal line back though. I don't know.
Philly just doesn't like running the ball this year.
Philly is like the little further south version of New England in terms of running backs. You're kind of rolling the dice every week. I look at Miles Sanders, guys, as a buy low. Am I starting him this week? Yeah, sure. You probably don't have better options.
No, yeah.
It's not a horrible matchup. The Jets are pretty good against the run, but these guys are both used in the passing game. More so Sanders, but neither of them really got much usage there last week either. But other than that, I think you start Miles Sanders. I think Alshon Jeffrey's a start. Zach Ertz is obviously a start. I got a feeling he feasts big time in this one. Hopefully I'm not playing him in any leagues. That's probably where I stand on this game.
And like I said, I could stand an Aguilar start. I wouldn't feel really comfortable about it, but if you have got no one else, you could throw Aguilar in there. He might get you, 10 points maybe.
Just keep in mind with the running backs though, it is the Jets are pretty solid against the run. They're definitely top 10 against the run, so it could be a game where Wentz just has to throw the whole time. I think Wentz and Ertz are the safest starts on the Philly side of the ball.
Next game, Minnesota Vikings, who are 2-2 versus the New York Giants, who are 2-2. And the Vikings are the favorite in this game.
This is it, John. This is the week that you start Kirk Cousins. Or is it?
I'm not.
So seriously, are you not starting him? It's the best matchup for him this year.
I don't trust him.
And I don't
I
think
agree.
the team does either.
No.
99 attempts, like we discussed last
But
time.
let me throw this back at you, like we talked about earlier this week. What about the squeaky wheel scenario? Adam Thielen saying we got to pass the ball more. Stephon Diggs is allegedly asking for a trade. So do they shift their focus this week, or they just still stick with we have to run the ball no matter what? It's 1954.
I guess we're going to find out in news. If Diggs gets traded, then this
If
shakes
Diggs
up.
gets traded, then you're starting Thielen because he's the only dude on that team catching passes. And Kyle Rudolph might actually... this is a scenario that I say will happen, but I'm no insider, guys. I'm just going on intuition. But yeah, if Diggs is not on the team, Thielen and Rudolph are both must-starts. Dalvin Cook is in a situation here where he's got the Giants who are literally like almost dead middle of the pack. So he'll be able to run on those guys. But they're more susceptible to the pass and to the receivers. Thielen's going to feast this week. He's whining about getting more... Thielen's whining, but Diggs is the one that has really been screwed over all year. Thielen's getting goal line carries. I don't
He's
know.
running the ball all of a sudden.
That's why I think, is it personal against Diggs? Is this an O.J. Howard situation?
Personally, I like Diggs better than Thielen, but I just
He's a
think
better player.
I
He's
really
twice
do.
the player
When
he is.
you trade the person who's nagging about how we need to pass more in the media, not the one who's shut his mouth and done what he's supposed to.
Right.
I trade Thielen over Diggs any day of the week.
So Diggs, and I'm going to tell you guys, start him safely this week. Start Thielen safely this week. I think those guys are both going to go off. If we're being serious, I think those guys are both have huge games this week. I think Cousins is a must start this week. But there is a planet where they could get up big, and if they do, then those guys will be phased out.
Mm-hmm.
So you're banking on, can Daniel Jones keep up against a pretty tough Minnesota defense? What do you think about that, John?
It's a scary matchup. Minnesota's D is still pretty decent here. He's looked good so far, though. I'm not going to say he's been
Last week was a little rough.
Yeah.
Doesn't he look like Eli, too?
Yes, he does.
Kind of looks like Eli's son.
But
But is Dr. Jones going to carve him up? Is it hold on to your potatoes, or is it no time for love?
I think it's hold on to your potatoes, actually.
I hope so, because I'm starting him. But Minnesota's they're not impossible to throw on. They're ranked 21st, which is on the better half.
It matters which Xavier Rhodes you're facing.
Yeah.
Are you facing elite Xavier Rhodes one week, and the next week he's just getting burned?
But, guys, one thing we're not thinking about, there is another, as Yoda once said. Golden Tate comes back this
Yes,
week.
he returns from suspension.
That, in my opinion, Golden Tate, I'm telling you guys, and I said this in the offseason, everybody laughed at me. You'd be hard-pressed to find a much better receiving core than Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard, and Evan Ingram. And everybody laughed at me because Odell's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Well, Shepard and Ingram have already proved their worth. And Golden Tate is a still very skilled veteran presence who is going to be exactly where Daniel Jones needs him to be at all times. He would be a great
You could
Patriot.
argue they have one of the best
Well,
receiving cores out
question
of
I have for you
Dallas and
is,
Philly.
which
You could argue
receiver,
that.
or do you think they balance back and forth? Which receiver takes the outside?
I don't
'Cause they both
you want an answer to that?
Yeah.
It's not a receiver. It's Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram's going to be the outside threat. And I think both those guys, Shepard and Golden Tate, and I talked about this in the offseason, and you know this, I think those are going to be short dump-off passes.
Little slant.
My thought process was this was going to be New England Patriots South style offense, where the quarterback is an aging quarterback, throws short passes to guys that can get yak. And Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard can do that. Daniel Jones is now the quarterback. I still think they utilize that style without Saquon Barkley, and I think Ingram's the field stretcher, which he is more than capable of doing. Can they do it against the Minnesota defense is the question. I think they can, but I don't think all three of them are going to have big games. I think it's going to be Tate, and I think it's going to be Ingram, and I think Shepard might be 8 to 10 points this week.
I hope 12.
So I think Shepard might be an okay start in the flex. I think Golden Tate, I mean, you probably want to wait and see with him, but I got to imagine he's raring to go.
I think Tate gets at least 6 receptions.
And they went and got Tate for a reason. He was the Odell Beckham replacement. Obviously, he's not going to replace Odell Beckham in terms of what he offers.
Oh, so you want to stretch the field like that.
But Golden Tate's a damn good receiver. I think we forgot that somewhere.
He's a good route runner, and he knows
the offense. I mean, we look at last year in Philly, guys. He didn't know the offense.
No.
He knows the offense. He's had time to prepare. I think you could see Golden Tate have a pretty big week this week. But you could also see him goose you. So it's a gamble. I think my question is, and I need you guys to help me out with this, is Daniel Jones startable against this defense?
It's in New York.
I say yes.
I think Daniel. This could be a game where Daniel Jones really. He's either gonna win you this game or he's gonna lose you it. You know.
So he's got the Kavorka code. He's got the Konami code. Nobody's got the Kavorka code. That's Pat Mahomes. He's got the Konami code. He can run.
Yeah.
So that helps the baseline. It's interesting. I've got Josh Allen. I got Daniel Jones, and they're very similar guys. I think Daniel Jones slightly more skilled with a slightly better matchup. But I'll pose that question, guys. If you're in a scenario like that, Josh Allen or Daniel Jones?
Let me ask you this: what's holding you back? Or are you starting Jones regardless of what we're going to say? Because I want to.
I'm probably starting Jones no matter what.
So here's my input on Jones. What is their record with Jones?
They have not lost yet.
Ding ding ding.
That means very little in
fantasy.
But
to be honest, look at the teams they play. They play Tampa, which
Tampa's
you
a
could
better
argue
team
Tampa's an all right team.
Tampa's a good offense.
How
with a good front
different
seven.
does a team play when they start bonding more? Better.
Yeah, I think.
And I think Jones makes this team better. And now you have Tate
100%.
back. So I think.
So let me ask you guys this: Daniel Jones or Kirk Cousins?
Daniel Jones.
I think it's Cousins.
I trust Cousins more just because of how bad.
But you
Jones
could be right.
is.
I'm not acting like you couldn't be right about this.
I'm not.
I say Daniel Jones because a team plays different when you get this chemistry. Now they have Tate coming back. This team's only going to get better.
I'm going to hold on to my potatoes this week.
I say, you know me, I've been touting Cousins all the time, but after those stats I saw last night, it's not the sacks, it's not the offensive line not giving Cousins time, it's the coaching, the offensive coordinator, and it's Cousins not making it happen.
And they haven't given their quarterback and receivers enough reps.
No.
I mean, you look at last
99 attempts for Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, man. They're like, oh crap, we need to throw the ball now, but Cousins hasn't done it all
Kyle
year.
Allen has almost as many attempts. He's only played 2 games.
And the majority of those completions are just checkdowns to Dalvin Cook. He can't. He will not throw downfield. He'll just check it down.
So why would I want to take a chance? Yes, Cousins might have the sweetest matchup, but statistically, I would rather roll with Jones.
Hold on to your potatoes, boys. What's the next game?
Next, actually, let's take a break. So next up is the Chicago Bears 3-1 versus the Oakland Raiders, who are 2-2.
The Raiders.
Don't play anyone from Oakland this week.
Nope, wrong.
I would not trust anyone versus this defense, man. I don't at all.
I gotta tell you, John, it's in London. I know it's in London, and that's always kind of bizarre.
I'm taking the reverse bizarre world code here. I'm going Oakland here, not for the win.
I have Josh Jacobs, so you're telling me to start Josh Jacobs over Marcus Valdez-Scantling assuming that Adams is absent. Is that what you're telling me?
What's the shorter trip? Let me ask you this. Who's got the longer trip to London? Is it Chicago Bears or Oakland Raiders?
It'd be
I
Oakland.
don't know.
No.
Would it?
No, because Oakland's on the
goes
west
the
coast.
opposite
No,
way.
but Oakland's not going to go over the Pacific and then over the entire continent of Europe and then to...
Yeah, it's true.
It's probably Chicago's got the shorter flight.
To be fair, they give
I'm no
up
geographer.
the week when they know they're going
they're
to
there
London,
now.
they leave.
They
Yeah,
got there Monday probably.
yeah, they've been there the whole week. They practice there and everything, so that won't be much of a factor. It's just I saw this Bears defense
That's a good point
last
too,
week.
Noah. Not to cut you off, but they actually fly from the city that they played in previously.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't know that.
they flew? Because I remember watching. I don't remember what game it was, but it was one of the teams. And they said they're flying out tonight.
Yeah.
So Sunday they flew out. So I don't know where Oakland played last week. If it was in Oakland, then yeah, it's probably a pretty long flight. Who did they play last week, guys? Do we know?
They played Indy, so they were in Indy, so
that's
middle of the country,
yeah.
like Chicago.
So, I mean, well, I'm only going to take I'm not taking the Raiders here, but I think you could still play the Raiders based on garbage time here. Kirk Cousins still threw for about 200, including garbage time. Diggs had a decent game because of garbage time. I think Tyrell Williams can have
It was all garbage
yes,
time. Yeah.
and that's why I'm saying Derek Carr could be startable because of garbage time. I'm not saying Josh Jacobs.
I was going to say, Jacobs is facing the 5th best team against running backs.
That's what scares me. I would not start him here.
Yes,
because
I agree.
Yes, his target share, if it was higher, I'd say yes, but his target share is not high enough yet. It's improving.
Next week he has Green Bay. Wheels up.
Yes,
baby.
This week, no. The only two people I trust probably are going to be Tyrell's hard because of the injury too. We haven't heard everything about that. You have to start Waller, and you have to start. I think you have to start Derek Carr as a spot start because of garbage time.
I disagree with that.
What scares me is this Bears defense had I think 3 starters out last week, and they made Minnesota look like a Kiwi team, which they kind of are at this point.
I'm only starting Darren Waller. I'm on Oakland. He's the only guy.
But it's a divisional rivalry too. That makes a big difference.
That's great.
What?
Wait, Chicago?
No, when they play Minnesota.
The Bears in Minnesota?
I'm confused.
Divisional rivalry.
He's talking about last week when the Bears
That was a divisional rivalry. Teams always play better in divisional rivalry.
Well, this is Oakland, and they're going to get smashed in the mouth by Chicago. Yeah. So I'm only starting Darren Waller. David Montgomery is a so-so matchup against Oakland.
His usage is better, but I don't know.
Efficiency's not really there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So, do you think Tariq Cohen is a great start this week? I think this might be a good Tariq Cohen week.
I have Tariq Cohen.
Chase
I'm starting him in
Daniels actually has. Cohen has a better chance with Chase Daniels because he doesn't throw the deep ball that far.
Yeah.
I think it's a better chance for Cohen. And I also think you have to start Allen Robinson based on his production lately. And I'm not talking elite stats, it's a safe floor. He had 7 targets for 77 yards or something like that?
Real quick on Montgomery, he's had more than 4 yards a carry once this year, and it was against Washington. So,
And Washington's awful.
But I think the Chase Daniel thing is kind of weird too. This could be a clunker.
I think, alright, so here's the thing. I really do think that Chase Daniels gives the Bears a better shot at QB.
It's hard to be worse than Trubisky.
It's hard. So, at the same time, if Chase Daniels comes in and does a Case Keenum and has, not even a Case Keenum, half of what he did with Minnesota and just, manages the game, this Chicago team could be, filthy across the board.
I think you're starting Allen Robinson for sure. I think Robinson has been he's snuck in there as one of the safest starts at the wide receiver position this year. So I think you're definitely starting him. I think Tariq Cohen's a good start. I think David Montgomery's a good start. Chase Daniel could be great, but there's just so many variables here, guys, with the London thing, with backup quarterback for Chicago.
There's been some weird games in London, too.
London always seems
who are the fans going to be?
London's
behind?
Always, it's not the favorites always win the London games. It's always the underdog.
A lot of times that happens, but I'm nervous about this game. So, Allen Robinson, Darren Waller are the only 2 guys that I'm really comfortable starting.
Yeah.
I'm not a Bears fan or Raiders fan, but like I said at the beginning of this, when we started reviewing this, I said the Raiders. So we'll see if I'm right. I'm wrong, but I said the Raiders.
I hope you're wrong because I'm not starting Josh Jacobs. So.
Denver Broncos 0-4 at the Chargers, who are 2-2. The Broncos are aiming to avoid their 9th straight defeat.
But guys, Cortland Sutton and Emmanuel Sanders have been safe starts every single week. Every week. So you're looking at a guy, Joe Flacco, Kirk Cousins, that can support 2 receivers every week.
Yeah.
So I think you start both of them. I really do.
You starting Flacco against the Chargers D? Casey Hayward?
Honestly, I had considered it with my quarterback situation in the keeper league. I just think Jones with the Konami code is a better option for me, but I wouldn't be opposed to it.
A 4:30 game in LA. It's either you're going to get a Joe Flacco where he throws a touchdown, manages the game, or he's just going to throw 3 picks and look awful. I don't know. I like you said, I'd feel comfortable starting Sutton and Emmanuel Sanders. I don't know about Flacco, but
I think you could, depending on what your options are. And then as far as the backfield, I think Lindsey and Freeman could both be decent flex starts, but they're really, that 50-50 split is, you just don't know who it's going to be from week to week.
Nope.
So you're rolling the dice with those guys. As far as San Diego, let's talk about the elephant in the room there, Melvin Gordon. Are you putting him in there this week? I feel like you have to.
Yes, because he should start this week. Eckler, I think, is still going to be involved here.
Yeah,
He's earned the right to.
Well, it was kind of like this cool thing happened at the end of the game where like he was like waving to the fans almost like it was a farewell, but I don't think it's quite a farewell yet. I think Eckler's still going to get some action.
What scares me about Gordon, I know he's been ready, he's been practicing, but I still think they're going to limit him here, because Eckler's been too good not to play.
Well, Denver can't stop the run. They're the fourth worst against the run, so I think you start both those guys.
Oh, it's going to get worse too. Bradley Chubb tore his ACL; he's out for the season, so
Excellent.
their pass
Excellent
rush is
point.
gone.
So I think you start both these guys. We have a guy in our league that has both of them. I think he could start him as his RB1 and 2, honestly.
And see a safe floor from both of them.
Keenan Allen coming back to life this week, Noah? What do you think?
Chris Harris Jr., baller of a corner.
I
feel like Keenan Allen's one of those receivers that you kind of have to start out of respect with how he's done. He had a pretty good week last week in Miami, but it's Miami. But like John said, Denver's pass rush is gone. I'd start Rivers, I'd start Keenan Allen, I'd start Gordon, Eckler.
Mike Williams. I think Mike Williams is going to have his week finally. I think this is the week. Chris Harris will put the coverage onto Allen. I'm not saying Allen's not going to get any catches.
I can see 5 for 60 from Allen, like a 5 for 60.
And I can see Mike Williams getting 8 for 80 for 2 TDs possibly.
I apologize for my ignorance on this, and I don't know if you guys know, but I'd be curious to know who Harris covered last week, whether it was Chark or Dede, because Chark had a respectable game.
That
off the top of my head, I don't know. It should have been Dede, because I believe Dede plays the outside.
I mean, let's be honest. You have to start Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, you
have to. He's a big name. I'm not saying not starting.
You got to give him that respect.
I agree. I think Mike Williams could have a big week this week as well. Totally agree.
So we'll go into the next game. The Green Bay Packers, who are 3-1, versus the Dallas Cowboys, who are 3-1.
We'll start with Zeke.
Can I bring up one interesting stat?
Yeah, go ahead.
Since you said you didn't think the Cowboys' defense was that good.
No, all right. So
Cowboys are allowing 14 points per game.
Yeah.
They're fewest since 1997 through 4 games.
He said they weren't the team that they were last year.
So let me explain that.
Those were his exact
I had a couple that night. So I'm saying the secondary. I think Dallas's front 7 probably is the best in the league. I think the secondary, when the front 7 isn't playing too good, that secondary really could get exposed.
I'm gonna tell you
something. But no one can block this front 7.
This is the Dallas defense. They're great in the secondary. They're great on the line. They're great with linebackers, but they do tend to give up the big play from time to time. And that's just discipline. That's coaching. You know what I mean? As far as Zeke, this is a sweet matchup for him.
He should eat.
Green Bay is just not good against the run. On top of that, you saw Zeke Tony Pollard was pretty much phased out last week. Yeah. Wasn't a great week for Elliott, but he did play. I got to say, in my opinion, from the eye test, the best run defense in the NFL in terms of New Orleans. I know they're ranked 3rd, I believe, but Green Bay is ranked 3rd worst against running backs. And when you're Ezekiel Elliott and you go against the 3rd worst run defense, my expectation was that you absolutely destroy them. This could be a 30 to 40 point week for Zeke.
I think this is a big win for Dallas too. I don't see that offense. Do you start Aaron Rodgers versus Dallas D? I know he's been successful.
You have to start Aaron Rodgers here. This game would be more competitive if Adams was playing, but it's leaning towards that he's not. But I think you have to start Aaron Rodgers out of respect here, based on the fact that even if the Cowboys get up, they're going to go garbage time. They're going to play from behind. They're going to throw. And let's be honest, Rodgers in garbage time is still good.
Look, I just don't trust that offense.
Before we jump to Green Bay, Amari Cooper, be careful with him, because the Green Bay is the 2nd best defense against wide receivers.
Yeah, secondary is really good.
So temper your I guess you have to start Cooper because he's gone against top Ds before and just completely toasted them based on his target share. But I think this could be a Michael Gallup game. And I would be a little concerned about Cooper. I'm not so sure I want to go out of my way to start either of them. But just be cautious with Amari Cooper. I don't know what's going on with Dallas at tight end. Jason Witten fumbled last week, and then it was all Blake Jarwin after that. So I don't know what's going on there. I wouldn't start either of them necessarily.
Packers front seven against against running. They're not great against the run, but when it comes to coverage and quarterback pressure, they're actually good. I could see Dak getting a little trouble here. But if Zeke runs the ball the way I think he's going to, it should help Dak open up the passing game as well.
Yeah, that play action is going to be big for them.
Yes.
As for Aaron Rodgers, you guys mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Dallas is fifth best team against quarterbacks. But I guess the question is, who have they faced to date? Have they faced Aaron Rodgers? They have not.
No.
So that could be a little different. It would be great if Breeze actually played last week so we can measure that a little bit better. But they played Eli Manning. They played Teddy Bridgewater. Week 2, guys, help me out on week 2.
Oh,
Miami, Rosen.
They played Rosen. So they have not really faced a good quarterback yet. So that's why I feel a little bit better about starting MVS. This game's going to be either a low-scoring affair like the New Orleans game, or, and this is the way I think it's going to go, is it's going to be a really fun shootout, really fun game to watch, really fun from a fantasy standpoint. Because really, it's a game that I think both teams need to win. They have a good record, but they're both going to be competing for the top spot in the NFC at some point.
This could be the NFC Championship.
It could very well be.
But the bad thing is you may not see Adams. You probably see him in the NFC Championship. You're not going to see him this week.
Yeah.
I think you start.
I don't think so. No.
I think you have no choice.
So is it Allison or MVS?
Both.
I think you're right.
Both. Okay. MVS will see he will be basically the number one, or it could be Allison. But either way, their targets will go up with Adams out. That's what at least 10 targets split. Let's go low. Let's bottom low. 10 targets. They each get 5 extra targets.
Yep.
That means they're each seeing about 12 targets each.
I think Jimmy Graham's a good start at tight end if Adams doesn't play, which again it looks like he's not.
They need a red zone threat.
Aaron Jones has looked like trash.
I don't
Touchdowns
trust him
have
here.
saved his day, and Dallas is a top 5 run defense. So I'm a little nervous here, but who else is going to carry the rock? I personally would sit Aaron Jones in this game because I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to end up a high-scoring game where both teams are chasing each other down. Zeke, I think, is going to be a part of why the score gets high, so I think you're safe with him.
If you have
Jones, I don't.
If you have no choice for Jones, the only positive going for Jones is that he will have a high usage, which will help his
In goal line carries.
Yes, but let's say they're playing from behind. Even if he has, let's say, 7 catches for 40 yards,
And he might.
he might.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. That would be, but rushing wise, I wouldn't expect more than 30 yards from this guy.
We gotta acknowledge too. Tyron Smith went out late last week in that Saints game, so
He did, but
No.
that line's still pretty solid. They played well without Smith.
I just don't want if he's gonna be injured, not 100% though. That Green Bay can bring pressure.
Smith is the left
Bring a
tackle,
lot
though.
of
He's
pressure.
more protection for Dak. They still have Zach Martin. They still have Travis Frederick.
Leo
they-
Collins.
those
Yeah.
guys
Loaded.
are good run. They create open paths for Zeke pretty frequently. So I'm not as worried about that. And Dak has played without Tyron Smith. Unfortunately, Tyron Smith is excellent, but as far as I'm concerned, he's a cut candidate at the end of the year because he's never healthy. But
Yeah, you're right.
Jerry, and they're paying him $100 million, but Jerry's pretty loyal. See Sean Lee, so he might stick around. But anyway, in terms of this game, I say don't start Aaron Jones if you have better options, but it could be a high-scoring affair, and it looks like they run rather than throw on the goal line, which traditionally is not the case in Green Bay. So start everyone. Fire all the cannons.
Next game, the Indianapolis Colts versus the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 4-0. Sorry, Colts are 2-2. Chiefs lead the NFL with 367 passing yards per contest here.
Yeah, Mahomes should have a huge day.
The Kavorka, baby.
Listen,
I think he gets back on track and gets 4 TDs here.
Like we've said, this kid's a generational talent. He's going to be someone you're going to be talking about one day as some of the best quarterbacks you've ever seen.
I love how you say back on track. Did he throw for 350 yards last week?
He threw for 350. No TDs, but everyone's like, that's a bad
He threw for 313 passing yards, but 0 TDs.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's where I think he actually gets back on track as the TD.
I know, but you agree. It's
Yeah.
funny how people are like...
No. I'm not saying
Yeah.
I'm just saying there was no touchdowns. That's what shocked everybody last week because you expect at least one.
Yeah,
So-
Mahomes is good for 30 at least this week.
I could see LaShawn McCoy having a good day. Travis Kelce, obviously.
Is it McCoy or is it Williams?
I think it's both.
Either, yeah. I mean,
I think it's both.
Indy's defense is pretty bad, so
How do you feel about? I love Travis Kelce this week if Leonard doesn't play again.
yes.
I like him if he does.
Well, I like him. Yeah, but
I love him if he doesn't.
Yeah,
I love him
that's what I'm
if
saying. Darius Leonard doesn't play. I love him. I like him still to play. I'm not saying Kelce is still very good, but if Darius Leonard doesn't play, they have not been the same team against tight ends.
And Indy's the 13th worst against quarterbacks. So when you're facing Patrick Mahomes,
Good luck.
Good luck with all of that.
Indy side, who are you starting?
Is T.Y. Hilton playing?
No,
Probably
probably
not. I'm starting the tight ends. If I have Ebron and Doyle, I'm probably starting them. I want to start Paris Campbell, but I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Pascal could be sneaky this week because he's been sneaky the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I don't trust him. I don't trust him.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I look at that team, and it's just boring. Their uniforms are boring. Their quarterback's boring.
They're
You
in
think
a boring
Brissett
city.
continues?
They're in a boring city.
It's
None of those guys. Like, I look at everybody on that team, and if they're the guys that if they're on my fantasy team, and I'm just like, I really don't want to start this guy. But I guess I don't have a choice.
So Marlon Mack, if he's healthy, do you start him here against Kansas City?
I don't know, dude, because he doesn't catch passes. And they're going to get destroyed by Pat Mahomes.
And they're gonna get
Jacoby Brissett's a fraud, by the way. The guy is touchdown dependent. He's a quarterback that's touchdown dependent.
Do you because of this blowout, do you think Naheem Hines is a good start this week? I do. I think they play from behind.
I'm gonna tell you guys, and this is probably unpopular. I don't want to start anybody on
Okay,
that
here
team.
we go.
like I was trying to bring myself to ask the question, would you be
Other than the
comfortable with
tight ends.
Brissett? But like I really do think Brissett's gonna throw an early pick or two, and it's just gonna be an avalanche. Because is it in
Kansas City's team
KC?
better? Yeah, it is.
It's in Arrowhead in a Sunday night game.
Yeah.
This is gonna be ugly. It's gonna be bad.
And the guy that got them into that Sunday night time slot, Andrew Luck, he gone. So good luck with all of that.
And the Chiefs are favored by 11.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just gonna be a slaughter.
Okay, so
it's gonna be
last-
fun to watch
the
because
last game-
I don't like that team.
Which is next Monday. The Cleveland Browns, who are 2-2, at the San Francisco 49ers, who are undefeated with a 3-0 record.
Undefeated.
So, yes. 49ers
Wow.
lead the NFC with 175 rushing yards per contest.
Undefeated, lead the NFC in rushing yards. Very, very, very good defense.
Yes, their defense is
Yes.
vastly improved.
As someone who owns Baker Mayfield, Chubb, and Odell in leagues,
You
The
gotta
only-
start them all.
yeah, you got to, because at the same time,
Can I tell you something?
this is going to be the week that's going to test the
Hey,
49ers.
They're gonna get tested because Nick Chubb faces the toughest run defense in the league. The number one run
Yeah.
defense.
See,
in the
guys,
league.
like, here, see how quickly a defense can change. 49ers were one of the worst defenses last year.
So what this is, guys, in reality, is the unstoppable force and the immovable object, because you have the best ranked defense in the league against the usage that Nick Chubb gets.
I believe,
Which one breaks first?
I believe that Chubb has the second most attempts. He's behind, like I said, behind Christian McCaffrey in rushing attempts.
Well, I think I'm not saying that the Niners are overrated, because I really do think the squad's good.
And they've had
But-
a bye too.
Yeah,
They're coming off
they've
the bye.
had they've had 4 buys basically. They play well.
So the
They
Patriots.
play, which
And they still haven't had
The
the
only-
real bye yet.
yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But I don't know. I could see Nick Chubb having an all right game. I could see him getting me at least 10 points. I could see Odell versus Sherman scares me, because I still think Richard Sherman. He looks like 2013,
So
2014.
listen.
Richard Sherman.
No, Big Sherm looks great out there, but if you have the best run D, that's one thing, okay? I could see, okay, maybe they're not as good as we thought. But then you have the second best defense against quarterbacks. And the 5th best defense against wide receivers.
And I'm not-
That speaks to maybe you have a legitimate defense.
But again, like we just made that joke. Look at the teams they face. They face Jameis Winston first week, which they really made him look bad.
I mean, and that's a good offense.
Yeah.
Like it or not.
But they still scored 17 in a low scoring game. So then we go to Cincinnati, who Andy Dalton. I don't like him. Can't imagine why. And then your boy Mason Rudolph the week before.
Well, it was Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph.
I know this is a tough matchup for Chubb, but you got to start Chubb regardless here. He's second in fact.
I think you have to start Chubb and Odell, and probably Landry. I wouldn't start Mayfield here.
Well, would you rather start Mayfield versus San Fran or Carr versus Chicago? Because
I'm not starting Tom Brady against Chicago. I'm having a hard time starting Pat Mahomes against Chicago.
Yeah, so
I'm not starting anybody against Chicago.
That's the thing.
So that's kind of a trick question.
I think I'm the only suicidal guy this week when I picked Carr against Chicago. I really do.
Good luck with all of that, bro.
You
got big ones, John.
Garbage time? How are you going to play in garbage time when you got a broken leg?
He won't have a broken leg. Might have a broken back, but he won't have a broken leg. Chubb is top in all categories. He's third for rushing TDs with 4. He is fourth in rushing yards with 398. Rushing attempts, he's tied for second for 78. Rushing yards per attempt, he's 5.1. And he is number 4 for rushing yards per game at 99.5. I think you have to start Chubb. Limit your expectations, but I say the safe floor is like 16 carries for like 60 yards.
Are you guys ready for my sneaky start of the week?
Sure.
And I have him, and I'm not starting him, but he is my sneaky start of the week.
I think I know who you're going to say.
Can you guess?
Antonio Callaway?
No. He plays for San Fran, and he is a receiver.
I know who you're going to say now.
Who?
Deebo Samuel.
Deebo Samuel is my sneaky start of the week this week. I think he can.
We wonder why we're tag partners, because I knew where you were going with that after.
George Kittle's going to have a great game. This team is really bad against tight ends. I think bottom 5, if I'm not mistaken. So George Kittle, I hope, because I have him as well, should have a huge game. But I really think Deebo Samuel's going to have a sneaky good game this week. I think he's going to pop.
So do you start Jimmy G against the Browns?
No.
I mean, they're not shutting down quarterbacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I let's say this. If you're asking me Baker Mayfield against San Fran or Garoppolo against the Browns, I would take Garoppolo.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I'm not saying, like...
And you weren't asking me that, but I put it in that context.
Breida here? Mostert? I haven't heard anything on Coleman, that's why I'm going...
I think...
I'd start Breida.
Yeah, I think that, but I think Cleveland's 10th best against opposing running backs. So this is not an easy matchup for those guys.
So do you think this is more of a Breida game than a Mostert game? Because I know Mostert can
That's
catch.
why I think it's a Deebo Samuel game. Honestly,
I could see this game being low scoring.
Well, that's why
I don't know, man. I just think
I have to start Breida this week. I don't have a choice. So, or Mostert. I'm trying to decide which one. I'm leaning towards Breida because
I think it's Breida because he's the pass. Isn't Tevin Coleman back this week though, or is that still up in the air?
All I heard is he's practicing, but I haven't heard anything about.
So if Coleman's back, then I think you phase Mostert out entirely
and go with either Breida or Coleman.
Yeah, exactly.
Poor Jeff Wilson Jr. Two touchdowns a game he was averaging. Now he's just gonna be phased out.
Hey, Mr. Wilson. All right, that's good.
That's it?
Good. All right, I'm going to, once again, I'm going to keep pounding this to you guys until you get annoyed. I just want to mention our GoFundMe page at www.gofundme.com/armchair-fantasy-football-podcast. If you guys could support us by making a donation and sharing it with your network, we would greatly appreciate it. Let us know if you have any questions. We'll be happy to answer them. Help the Working Class Podcast continue to provide great content. Unless I'm doing a read and I stumble all over myself. And keep the blue collar baller dream alive. We sincerely appreciate it, even if you can just share the GoFundMe page, posts, and tweets, which we got to put more out there, John.
Yes.
So that's it for today. Great job, Noah. Thank you for speaking into the microphone. Don't worry, John had the same problem when we started out.
Yep. Noah, do you have something to share?
Oh, yeah. Do you have anything you want to throw out there?
So for all you New England sports fans like me, I made a page called Boston Sports Updates. Just going to be keeping updates on Boston sports teams. If you can't catch a game, turn on alerts on my page. You'll get updates throughout the Pats game. It'll pop right up on your phone. Appreciate a follow. We're at 40 likes right now. So other than that, appreciate.
You can start a podcast and call it the Pink Hat Podcast.
I'll call it the Penitentiary.
Pink Hat Penitentiary.
I'll call it the Penitentiary Cafe.
No, Noah, great job. And we kind of make fun of Noah because he sometimes reacts emotionally when it comes to his, specifically his football team, but he is very passionate about those guys. We'll find out if he still is when Tom Brady retires, but that remains to be seen. Until then, check out his page. And we, again, thank you, Noah, for coming on with us today. You did a really good job, and hopefully we can have you back next week. You're welcome as much as you want to come down here with us. John, do you have any parting words?
Nope. We will see you guys soon. Enjoy this weekend.
See you guys next
Peace
week.
out.
Good
See ya.
luck.
Peace
Unless
out.
you're facing us.